They say it's a candidate's market out there, but I think that's especially true in sales right now.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, finding top-tier sales talent sometimes feels like you're searching for a unicorn.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Fiercely competitive.
So that's why I'm really excited to dive into some of the advice that the sales experts have shared about building an employer brand
Right.
that not only attracts those unicorns,
Mm.
but makes them want to stay.
Yeah, you're not just filling a role, you're crafting this magnetic appeal for the best in the biz.
Okay, so first things first, they
Uh-huh.
keep hammering on this idea of company culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I get it's important overall, but is it really that crucial for sales success specifically?
Well, think of it this way. A sales team thrives on energy, collaboration, and that drive to hit those targets.
Right.
So if your company culture is, let's say, super rigid and risk averse, those top salespeople who are these go-getters and creative
Yeah.
thinkers, they're going to feel stifled.
Right.
They won't just leave. They'll go to your competitor who's got that, work hard, play hard vibe.
So it's not just about having a culture, it's about having the right culture
Exactly.
that aligns with what high-performing salespeople are looking for.
Right. And the sales experts even had this great example of a tech company. They completely revamped their onboarding to include sales competitions, team-based rewards, and even had their CEO do a casual Q&A where he shared his own sales journey.
Mm-hmm.
And this really highlighted their culture of ambition and support, and their applicant pool quality shot way up.
That's so much better than just saying culture is important, for sure.
Right.
Okay, so we've got the right culture. Now, how do we shout it from the rooftops? Or, I guess, the internet.
Well, that's where it gets tricky. It's not enough to just slap some, we're awesome statements on your website.
Right.
The sales experts suggest thinking of your employer brand almost like a product you're selling.
Okay.
Your target audience is sales talent. What are their pain points? What are their aspirations?
Mm-hmm.
And how does your culture directly address those?
So instead of generic "we value teamwork" statements, it's more like we empower our salespeople to close bigger deals by providing them with X, Y, and Z.
Right. And don't forget the proof. Testimonials from your current top performers about how your culture helped them succeed, maybe even highlight some career progression stories.
Yeah,
It's like social proof, but for employer branding.
I like it. All right. Next up on the sales experts list, it's something a little more tangible.
Okay.
Compensation and benefits.
Yep.
This always feels like a no-brainer to me, but I guess it's worth revisiting.
Well, it's definitely table stakes. But here's where you can differentiate yourself. A standard package is going to get you standard talent. But if you want those rock stars, you have to think like a salesperson.
Okay.
What would incentivize them to join?
Okay. I'm intrigued. What kind of unique things we're talking about?
Well, for starters, the sales experts mentioned how important it is to offer performance-based bonuses that are truly motivating. Not just a measly percentage bump, but something that makes them feel like they're directly reaping the rewards of their hard work. Think about things like tiered commissions that escalate as they hit those bigger targets, or maybe even equity options that give them a piece of the pie. You want them to feel like owners, not just employees.
That's a whole different level of thinking about compensation. It's not just about paying them fairly. It's about aligning their goals with the company's success.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the non-monetary perks. The sales experts highlighted how companies are attracting top sales talent by offering things like flexible work arrangements, professional development stipends, even sabbaticals after hitting major milestones.
Wow, it's like you're not just offering a job. You're offering a lifestyle that appeals to these ambitious, driven people.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all great in theory, but how do we make sure that our amazing company culture and compensation actually reaches the right candidates?
That's where candidate experience comes in. Think of it like this. Every interaction a potential hire has with your company is a chance to reinforce your employer brand.
Okay.
If you're slow to respond to applications, have a clunky interview process, or ghost candidates after meeting them, well, it's not exactly screaming, "We value talent."
Ouch. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm.
I've definitely been on the receiving end of some pretty terrible candidate experiences, and it definitely made me question if I even wanted to work there anymore.
Exactly. And in a candidate's market like sales, you can bet those top performers they have options. The sales experts actually recommend treating your candidate pipeline like a sales pipeline. Nurture those relationships, provide clear communication, and make them feel valued throughout the entire process.
So it's not just about finding the right people. It's about making sure they have a positive experience every step of the way, even if they don't end up getting the job.
Right, because even if they're not the right fit this time, a good candidate experience can turn them into a brand advocate. Spreading the word about how great it is to interact with your company.
This all makes so much sense. It feels like a lot of companies focus on just getting butts in seats, but the sales experts are really advocating for a more holistic approach to attracting and retaining sales talent.
It really is about shifting your mindset. Don't just think about filling a vacancy. Think about building a team of rock stars who are going to propel your sales success to the next level.
All right. I'm feeling inspired to revamp our whole approach to hiring. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there was one more point from the sales experts that I wanted to touch on. They mentioned the importance of leveraging social media to showcase your employer brand.
Ah, yes, the digital age. This is where you can really bring your company culture to life. And it's not just about posting generic job ads or company updates. It's about creating content that resonates with sales professionals.
Okay, so what kind of content are we talking about?
The sales experts highlighted some great examples. Think about sharing those behind-the-scenes glimpses of your sales team in action, celebrating big wins, maybe even doing live Q&As with your top performers where they can share their insights and experiences.
It's like giving potential candidates a sneak peek into what it's actually like to work on your sales team. And it's way more engaging than just reading a dry job description.
Right, and don't underestimate the power of employee-generated content. Encourage your team to share their experiences, celebrate their successes, and talk about why they love working for your company.
It's like social proof on steroids. Authentic, relatable, and coming straight from the source.
Exactly. And it shows that you trust your employees to be the face of your company, which speaks volumes about your culture and values.
Okay, I'm sold. Well, we need to up our social media game for sure. But it feels like a lot to juggle company culture, compensation, candidate experience, social media. How do we make sure we're not spreading ourselves too thin?
The sales experts actually address that. They recommend starting small and focusing on one or two key areas where you can make a significant impact.
So don't try to boil the ocean, pick a couple things and do them really well.
Exactly. It's better to have a strong presence in a few key areas than to try to be everywhere at once and end up being mediocre across the board.
And I guess the key is to constantly evaluate and adapt, right? What works today might not work tomorrow, so it's important to stay flexible and be willing to experiment.
Absolutely. The world of sales is constantly evolving, and so are the expectations of top talent. So keep your finger on the pulse of the industry, gather feedback from your team, and be open to making adjustments as needed.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for attracting and retaining top sales talent. But before we wrap up, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about internal talent.
Ah, yes, the hidden gems within your own organization. It's easy to get caught up in the external search for talent, but sometimes the best candidates are already right under your nose.
So how do we go about identifying those internal rock stars?
The sales experts actually offer a few practical tips. First, encourage your employees to express interest in sales roles. Maybe create a talent marketplace or internal job board where people can signal their aspirations.
That's a great idea. It takes the pressure off of managers to constantly be scouting for talent and empowers employees to take ownership of their career paths.
Exactly, and it creates a culture of internal mobility, which can be a huge boost for morale and retention.
Okay, so we've got the talent marketplace in place. What's next?
The sales experts suggest implementing a formal mentorship program where experienced sales professionals can guide and support aspiring salespeople within the company.
That's a win-win. The mentors get to share their knowledge and expertise, and the mentees get valuable guidance and a chance to learn the ropes from the best.
Exactly, and it creates a strong sense of community and collaboration within the sales team.
All right, I'm adding mentorship program to my to-do list as we speak. This is all so valuable. It's like we've uncovered a whole new layer of talent acquisition that we hadn't even considered before.
It's all about thinking outside that traditional hiring box and recognizing that talent can come from unexpected places.
I love that. So what are some key takeaways that our listeners can implement right away to start attracting those top sales performers?
Well, first and foremost, remember that building a strong employer brand is an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. It requires consistent effort and a genuine commitment to creating a great workplace for sales professionals.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And it's not just about ticking boxes or following a formula. It's about understanding what truly motivates and inspires top sales talent and then tailoring your approach to meet those needs.
So it's about authenticity, personalization, and creating culture where salespeople feel valued, supported, and empowered to succeed.
Precisely. And remember, the rewards are well worth the effort. Attracting and retaining top sales talent can be a game changer for your business growth and success.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've covered so much ground and gained a whole new perspective on building a winning sales team.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you.
And a huge shout out to the sales experts for providing such valuable information and practical advice. If you're looking to level up your sales recruitment game, I highly recommend checking out their website. They've got tons of resources and tips to help you build a dream team.
And remember, the most important takeaway is to take action. Don't just let these insights sit idle. Put them into practice and start building your dream team today.
That's right. Go forth and create a workplace that attracts and retains the best sales talent in the industry. Until next time, happy selling.
Yeah, it really is about creating that environment where those top performers want to be.
Absolutely. And that's what the sales experts emphasize, I think, throughout all of their work.
Yeah, and to wrap things up, I feel like we've really covered a lot of ground here.
We have from aligning your company culture to attract these sales-minded individuals, to structuring compensation that motivates them, to ensuring that the candidate experience reflects that same energy.
And don't forget that social media piece.
Yeah.
Really showcasing that employer brand.
All connected. It is. It really is. But I think the biggest takeaway for me, and hopefully for our listeners, is that it's not about those quick fixes or gimmicks.
Right.
It's really about a genuine commitment to building a workplace where sales professionals thrive.
Yeah,
Feel valued, supported, and inspired to do their best work.
precisely. And that's what ultimately leads to sales success for both the individuals and the company as a whole.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Well, this has been such an insightful deep dive into the world of attracting and retaining top sales talent.
It really has. It's been a pleasure sharing these insights.
A huge thank you to the sales experts for their expertise and for providing such practical advice.
Oh, their work is truly invaluable for anybody looking to build a high-performing sales team.
It really is. And if you're ready to take your sales recruitment to the next level, be sure to check out the Sales Experts website for even more in-depth guidance and resources.
And remember, the key is to take action.
That's right.
Don't just listen. Implement. Start putting these strategies into practice today and watch your sales team soar.
Until next time, happy selling.